is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of F1 Fantasy Pole Position. It is Monday, February 24th. My name is Ewan. On today's episode, I'm going to give you my 2025 season predictions with preseason testing right around the corner. I wanted to get this on the record about my thoughts for the 2025 season. So not as much F1 fantasy today, just because we have such a huge week of testing, and I wanted to show you guys right here on the schedule how much I will be coming at you this week in the F1 fantasy world. I'm going to have 3 different live streams after every day of preseason testing, and then next Monday, 1 week from today, I will have a huge preseason testing wrap up, hopefully with a special guest if everything works out according to plan. But just wanted to let you know that today's episode, not as much F1 fantasy. There's going to be a little bit of F1 fantasy spin going around, but it will be mostly my season predictions. I've done the bold predictions. I've done how to win F1 fantasy. We've done price predictions. So with 2 days until preseason testing kicks off, let's get my predictions underway. I'm going to go through constructors first and then the drivers. So check out the timestamps in the description below if you want to skip ahead. And also, while you're down there, hit the like, smash the subscribe, leave me a comment on the YouTube channel. It is going swimmingly well in preseason, so thank you for all the support. But let's get into it here with 7th through 10th in the constructors. I've got Kick Sauber in 10th, Aston Martin in 9th, Racing Bulls in 8th, and Williams in 7th. The logic behind this is I think Aston Martin are going to throw this season away. They are all aboard the 2026 train with Adrian Newey, Fernando Alonso, hoping this could be his silver bullet to add a 3rd driver championship to his kind of repertoire there. Williams are going to go for it. They're going to build some momentum heading into 2026 with Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon. Racing Bulls, I think they've got, maybe I'm being slightly tainted by the amazing livery they came out with last week, where you can hit me up, follow me on TikTok and the YouTube shorts and all that. I've been posting some stuff over there as well. But yeah, I think Racing Bulls with Hadjar, Sonoda, maybe someone else. I'm going to give my predictions away here in a little bit. I think they finish above Aston Martin. Kick Sauber, they are so far behind the pack. I don't see them finishing anywhere else except 10th. And Williams in 7th, building that strong momentum going around. 4th through 6th here in the constructors, I've got Alpine in 6th, Haas in 5th, and Mercedes in 4th. Alpine have never actually finished outside the top 6 as Alpine. It took a miracle in Brazil last season to get them into the top 6, but that is where they finished. Haas, this would be their best finish since 2018. I love the driver pairing of Esteban Ocon and Ollie Behrman. I think the team is going in the right direction. I'm not sure they'll ever be able to crack the top 4. So this is pretty much going to be their Super Bowl if they can get 5th in the final year of a reg. And with Ocon, a race winner, Ollie Behrman, the next great thing in F1 if his rumors are to be believed. I think that's going to be a formidable driver pairing. Mercedes here, this is going to break some hearts here, but they haven't finished outside the top 2 in back-to-back seasons since the 2011 and 2012 seasons in the constructor standings. But with McLaren, Ferrari, and Red Bull just being such a strong trio at the top, I don't see the Silver Arrows cracking that top 3, especially with rookie Kimi Antonelli. And moving on to 1st through 3rd here, Ferrari, it's going to be their first championship since 2008. McLaren, they had a great 2024. I don't think they're going to repeat because I think that driver pairing of Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc is going to be too formidable for them to get past. And Red Bull, they are also on a little bit of a streak here. They haven't finished outside the top 2 in the constructor standings in back-to-back seasons since the 2018 and the 2019 season. However, with Max Verstappen and Liam Lawson, they will be the weaker of this trio of teams here. I mean, you got Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, Oscar Piastri, and Lando Norris there in Ferrari and McLaren. So I don't think it's too controversial to say that Red Bull has the weaker driver lineup compared to these other 2 teams. So that is where I have them. Ferrari, McLaren, Red Bull. That's going to be the 1, 2, 3. Ferrari breaks the streak, breaks the curse, the Tifosi bring one home in Lewis Hamilton's first season. But the constructor, we all want to know about what's going on with the driver. So let's get into it with the driver predictions here. 19th through 22nd. 22nd, I hear you say. And there's not 11 teams on the grid until 2026. What are you talking about here? Well, I've got 2 drivers being replaced in the 2025 season. I'm going Arvid Lindblad here. He is going to pull a Jack Doohan and replace Yuki Tsunoda in Abu Dhabi for the 2025 finale. I think Tsunoda's out of contract with Red Bull at the end of this year. I'm not sure if there's going to be a spot on the grid for him. Maybe he'll pick up a reserve driver role or he'll be going elsewhere, but I think we could see Tsunoda in an Esteban Ocon-like situation at the end of the 2025 season. So watch out for Arvid Lindblad. He is like the rising star in the Red Bull ranks. He got his super license, all the points he needs for his super license in February. He's going to race in F2 this season, so keep that name on your radar for the 2025 season and beyond, especially at the end of the season. Jack Doohan here in 21st. One career race start. He was the 2021 F2 runner-up, but just doesn't really have the ceiling. All these rumors circling around about Franco Colapinto coming into the seat within the first few races. Just based on like geography, I can kind of see Colapinto stepping into the car in Miami, which would be the 6th race of the season. So unless Doohan does something out of this world in the first 5 races, I don't see the Australian kind of getting into the points at all. Gabriel Bortoleto and Nico Hülkenberg here, 19th and 20th. Like I said, with the constructor prediction, I don't think Sauber's got the car. I think both teams, or Nico and Gabriel, will finish in the points at one point this season, just because I think it's going to be so tight. I heard Lando Norris already in the preseason saying that he wouldn't be surprised if there's like a team outside the top 4 finishes on the podium a couple of times this year. It did happen last year with Alpine in Brazil, but that was a wild and wet race. But yeah, Hülkenberg, 13 points finishes last year, 10 in the Grand Prix, 3 in the sprint, and he's been rewarded by driving a tractor for the 2025 season. He got job security, but he did not get performance. So that's going to be my bottom 4 for the 2025 season. Nico Hülkenberg, Gabriel Bortoleto, Jack Doohan, and Arvid Lindblad. Next up, 15th through 18th here, we got Lance Stroll, Franco Colapinto, Isaac Hadjar, and Alex Albon. Albon, I'm a little bit, just a tiny bit down on. He led the field in DNFs last season, fewest points per race in the field as well, negative 0.038. And yeah, I'm just a little bit curious as to where he goes after. I think he'll be outperformed by his teammate in Carlos Sainz. Isaac Hadjar in 17th. 2024 F2 runner-up is going to be his first season with Racing Bulls. Starting to like him a little bit more as the preseason goes along. Like I said, we've got preseason testing this week, so it's going to be really exciting to see him get some extended run out in an F1 car. Franco Colapinto, he will come in for Jack Doohan, and he will score some points as Alpine kind of grows throughout the season. He's just going to have a little bit more time to score more points than Doohan, obviously. However, he did have negative points in 3 of the last 4 races to end 2024, so it's something we should watch out for. Lance Stroll here in 15th, 6th fewest points per race in 2024, 3.6 points per race. Just not getting it done. I've planting my flag that Aston Martin is just going to be like nowhere near or at the races at all in 2025. I think they're just looking ahead until 2026. So Lance Stroll in 15th there. Moving up the grid here, 11th through 14th, Fernando Alonso, Esteban Ocon, Yuki Tsunoda, and Ollie Behrman. Alonso, 0 podiums in 2024 after 8 in 2023. So like I said, I think he's just waiting around, goal hanging, hopefully that 2026 car can do something special. However, I think the Honda president came out this week and said that they're struggling with the 2026 engine. So we'll see how it goes for Aston Martin in the new reg starting in 2026. Esteban Ocon and Ollie Behrman, like I said, love that driver pairing for 2025 and beyond, depending on how long they can stay together there. And Yuki Tsunoda, it's going to be his 5th season with Racing Bulls. It's going to be his last season with Racing Bulls in all likelihood. 87 career race starts. And like I said, I'm predicting that he will get replaced in Abu Dhabi, just like Esteban Ocon did last season. Moving further up the grid here, and this is kind of one of my bold calls, George Russell in 7th. I think Liam Lawson is going to finish ahead of George Russell. I think Red Bull is going to have enough time to sort the car out, the struggles there. Russell moving into like the full-on team leader where there's a lot of expectations on his head. Kimi Antonelli in 8th here. Not expecting a lot from the rookie. I do think he'll be in our F1 fantasy teams quite a bit, like kind of in and out, like as a good budget building option throughout the season. Pierre Gasly in 9th and Carlos Sainz in 10th. I'm buying into the Carlos Sainz hype. Maybe it's a little too optimistic, but first season with Williams, 4 career race wins. Like, I'm just pretty excited to see Sainz in the Williams. I'm excited for Williams fans to see Carlos Sainz in their car as well. Testing cannot get here soon enough. But Russell, Antonelli, Gasly, Sainz, that is my next 4. Now we're moving into the top 6 here. And Liam Lawson in 6. It's first season with Red Bull, 11 career race starts. Overall, a little underwhelming last season when he went into the V car, actually lost out to Yuki Tsunoda, but Red Bull still decided to put him in the second seat next to Max Verstappen. And then things get really interesting. So I got Lewis Hamilton here in 4th and Oscar Piastri in 5th. Hamilton is saying all the right things. I'm trying not to buy too much into the hype. I don't think he's going to crack the podium in the World Drivers' Championship this season. First season with Ferrari. We'll see how things go. He's saying all the right things, but it is going to take a little bit of adjustment for him. And I'm not sure if he can beat out Charles Leclerc head-to-head. Oscar Piastri, 5th in the World Drivers' Championship is where I'm putting him this year. I think he's going to have a little bit more highs and lows, and I really wouldn't be surprised if he comes out the gate firing. However, with McLaren kind of accepting their role as favorites, I wonder if Lando comes out even stronger than Oscar, how that's going to get dealt with throughout the course of this season. Could Papaya rules come into play a little bit earlier than they did in 2024? We will wait and see. There's the new Flexi Wing stuff that's coming in the 9th race of the season in Spain, so we're going to have to look at that since McLaren did such a good job with that as well. But Red Bull and Ferrari will have caught up over the winter. However, at McLaren's launch that they did last week, or almost 2 weeks ago now, before the F1 75 event that they had, they said that they're embracing the role as favorites. So this is the hardest one. However, with my constructor of having Ferrari ahead of McLaren for the season, this is just kind of how the math had to work out. And I'm not saying the rest of my maths is perfect at all, but I did have to have Oscar Piastri in 5th and Lewis Hamilton in 4th because my top 3 for the F1 season in 2025 is going to be 3rd is Charles Leclerc, 2nd is Lando Norris, and 1st is Max Verstappen. Max goes back to back to back to back to back in 2025. I think there's going to be so much infighting among these top 5 drivers. Throw George Russell in there a couple of weekends. Throw Liam Lawson in there a weekend or 2 as well. I think Max just over the rest of the field, he knows how to lead and battle in this car in these regs. Lewis is he's had a tough time of it with these regs. I'm just not sure if he gets to a car that can consistently win half the races of the season, if he will be ready for that. Really interested to see. I'm ready to have egg on my face with all these predictions. So let me know what I am right, or I will be right, or I will be wrong about in the comments below. Hit me up on X, Blue Sky, Twitter, or Twitter and X are the same thing, Instagram. Been traveling a lot the past couple of days, so excuse my rambling on coming out of my mouth right now. But yeah, Max, I think he's going to make it 5 for 5 here. 63 career race wins, going to add to that this season. Lando, in my heart, I want Lando to do well. I want him to win a World Drivers' Championship, but I just don't know if he can go head-to-head with Max. He's done it a couple of times, but he was chasing last year, and now it's a level playing field. It's 0-0 on the scoreboard right now, but I think Max can still beat Lando, even if the Red Bull is a little bit of an inferior car to the McLaren in 2025. And Charles Leclerc here in 3rd. I think he'll bring home the Constructor Championship for the Tifosi for Ferrari. He'll be chappy with that, and he's going to beat Lewis Hamilton head-to-head in 2025. So overall, that'll be a good season for Charles. I think he'll want to kind of obviously be battling for the World Drivers' Championship, but I'm just not sure if he can get there. But yeah, that's kind of where my thoughts are heading into the 2025 season. So just to kind of wrap it all up here, Constructor Championship, Ferrari, McLaren, Red Bull, Mercedes, Haas, Alpine, Williams, Racing Bulls, Aston Martin, and Kick Sauber. And then on the driver's side, I got 22 guys here. I'm not going to go through all of them, but headlines are Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc on the podium in the World Drivers' Championship. Arvid Lindblad to replace Yuki Tsunoda in the last race of the season, Jack Doohan to get replaced by Franco Colapinto after 5 or so races, Carlos Sainz in the top 10, Pierre Gasly in the top 10, and Lance Stroll in 15th because, yeah, that's what a headline draw he is in F1 right now. A couple of housekeeping notes are that shout out to the FSWA, the Fantasy Sports Writers Association, for nominating this baby YouTube channel, F1 Fantasy Pole Position, for Best Video Long Form. So thank you. Very honored. This is the 3rd year in a row that I've been nominated for an FSWA award. Hoping to bring it home, 3rd time's the charm, but as you can see, there are some monster competition on there. We've got Becoming a Best Ball Hero, Bro. We've got Fantasy Points, Film versus Analytics, NFL Fantasy Show, Yahoo Fantasy Show is also on there. But yeah, just extremely honored to be a finalist there as well. But it's also not as much of a baby YouTube channel as it was a few weeks ago. The channel has been blowing up in preseason, so thank you. Welcome to all the new followers, subscribers. Appreciate every single one of you. So hit me up in the comments. I will respond to every single comment. I always do. But yeah, we are over 1,000 subscribers now. And because of the support from the channel, that is where we can get to doing more live streams. That's why we're going to be doing 3 live streams this week. That's what I told you at the top. I'm going to tell you again at the end. I'm going to be on for about 30-45 minutes every night after preseason testing day 1, day 2, day 3, and then I'll have a whole episode to wrap it all up this time next week. So yeah, just madness going on right now. This is probably the shortest episode of F1 Fantasy Pole Position that I will ever put out, and it's not even about F1 Fantasy, so that's probably why it is like that. But we're going to get into plenty of F1 Fantasy content over the rest of the week. So yeah, like and subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell button, notify you whenever I go live. That is when I will be in your feed talking F1, what we've learned, what we've seen from testing in Bahrain this week. So I will see you Wednesday. And once again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And I will talk to you next time.